Welcome. Thank you for being here. My name is Rajai Kaldani. I'm an energy healer and a wellness advocate. And I'm here with Gina Hornbogen. And she is a founding member of the Ascension Tribe, just like myself. And I want to thank you for taking the time to be here, Gina. How's your day coming along?
Wonderful, Raj. Thank you so much for inviting me and giving me the opportunity to dive in a little bit who I am.
Very nice. Thank you so much, Gina. So, Gina, you're an energy worker. Um, how long have you been working with energy and how did you get involved? I mean, what was your introduction to this whole energy metaphysical kind of world? And how did you get started?
Well, I think I've always been in it, just not realizing I was in it. I've been incredibly intuitive, and I grew up in a family that wasn't.
Hmm.
So I was always the odd person out. And I think I just would always gravitate towards my inner knowing and feeling and not understand how or why I could just be so in tune to what people were thinking, feeling, and being that it was just, I did it naturally. And then I think over time, I've just kind of honed in my skills and realized, oh, that's what it is. So I would say formerly, probably doing more energy work would probably be in the last 4 to 5 years. But before that, I always did it, just didn't know that that's what I was doing.
Wow. Okay. So now a lot of people have this experience where they're intuitive or they see things, maybe they're psychic, right? And at an early age they block it out. Did you do that? Or because a lot of people do block it out because maybe they're afraid or don't want to kind of stand out.
No, I think I was the one that kind of stood out, but it didn't bother me. Like I was just like, yeah, I'm the odd man out. I'm weird but people just gravitated towards me anyway. Like I had a very eclectic group. Like I got along with everybody. So I didn't judge people. It was like, so I was like free. If you judged me, I was okay with that. I just went with the flow. And I think I was always an old soul. So I think I just didn't care. I was just like, but I was probably very much alone. So I will say that that was one of my things that I enjoy. Like I would be around people but I don't think I let people into who I was and what I was doing. It was more just, I just gravitated to anybody. They gravitated towards me, but I left it there. So I
Right.
didn't let people really get to know me.
Sure. Now, would you consider yourself psychic or just intuitive? And is there a difference?
I would say I wouldn't consider myself psychic.
Mm.
Um, I have met some pretty amazing psychics, and I don't think I have all of those gifts.
Yeah.
I would say much more intuitive, but I can feel the energy. I can feel the situation. I have been known to finish quite a few people's sentences or feelings and kind of freak them out. So I have toned that back. Like I just, and then I try to get them to tell me rather than me telling them. So I think I've learned that along the way to not be so, oh, hey, here, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh, wait, just scared the heck out of me. So
Right. So you would be what some people would call an empath. So you feel what other
definitely.
people are feeling.
Yes.
Now, when you do that, do you have a way of like transmuting that energy? Like if you feel someone else's energy, or do you just feel it and convey the information?
I think I do both.
Mm.
So I think it's intuitively I can, ground that energy, transmute it, and kind of diffuse the situation. I can also ask questions because a lot of people, I think a lot of times their emotions are coming out in such a way that they don't mean to be taken the way they're sometimes taken. So because I have that inner knowing of what's really going on, kind of try to like, is it possible you're feeling this way? Is it possible this? And then they're like, oh, so it kind of more transmutes what could have been a more difficult circumstance, I guess,
Right.
and then almost help them ground together Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So so you're also a Reiki master and you teach
Yes.
Reiki, right?
Yes.
And you also work with sound, right? So you're a sound healer, so you work with music and
Yes.
sound. So you mainly work with what, like crystal singing bowls, or you do the Tibetan bowls, or both?
Primarily Tibetan bowls, hand pan, tuning forks.
Mm,
So more of like the vibration versus, I think it was more vibration versus the sound.
okay, got it. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I actually have you probably can't see it, but I have a small little Tibetan bowl back there. But yeah, those things are wonderful. So,
Yes.
um, once you got into Reiki, did that kind of accelerate your kind of process or your journey, delving more into this world in more of an intentional way?
I believe so. I think so it's interesting. So the Reiki, I absolutely love Reiki, but there are some things that I'm like, oh, I think in some instances it's, um, which I'll probably get in trouble for saying this, but a little bit archaic in some of the
Mm,
teaching. So it's like I've like to add my own flair to things and I like to bring other people's flair into things. So I think it's more like building together as a community for the current times.
right.
Because obviously I've taught Asui Reiki, which was a long time ago, and the teachings were very different because they were very long and very costly, and they weren't allowed to write anything down. Whereas w- we currently do things differently. We want things faster, simpler, and we write it all down. So it's like how to build the old teachings with the current teachings to make it one for everybody. So, because that I think that's my biggest passion is helping people find who they really are and what their purpose here in this lifetime is, because I think we all have something that we can give and, thrive in this world. And how cool is that to help have somebody alongside of you to experience it, to just like relish in the challenge and the whole experience of it. And I think that's what brought me to the Ascension Tribe. Like, I think we have a phenomenal group of people that we're all looking to raise the vibration of the community and how can we help and how can we offer more and do it together. And there's no one right answer. It's how do we all add our own little piece to it to make it better?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, the Ascension Tribe has been fun so far. I mean, we do daily, well, not daily, we do weekly Monday night meditations, and it's been wonderful. And tell me why you decided to join the Ascension Tribe. I know this is probably, a lot of energy workers like to work alone, but we chose to kind of come together as a group and kind of combine our energies. How's that been different for you?
One, I think we're all so unique,
Mm,
and that's amazing. And we all come at things from a very different perspective. And I have always been um, an advocate of learning. Like I love to learn. I love to challenge what I learned, to say, like I was the kid that never took anything for face value. I was that why, but why? And I needed to understand. And I've determined in my older years that I don't really need to understand, but I just still love to experience different perspectives and see how, like, what I can take from that and like thrive and move forward. And I think that's what we've done with the four of us is none of us are approach any of the energy work the same, but it's been phenomenal of learning and like it's almost like making a like I love to cook. So it's almost like making a dish for the first time, and then you add a new ingredient, and then you add another new ingredient, and then it's like, oh my gosh, this was awesome. And I feel like that's what we're experiencing with the Ascension Tribe. Is like each week is different, and it's like, oh wow, that was great. Oh wow, that was great. Like, what else can we do? What else can we add to it? And how can we just make it better? And who else can we impact? And who else can we touch with this?
Right.
So I think that's been the most fun for me.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, no, it really is different every time. But it's very potent. I found that when you work with other people, you really amplify what you can do. I tell people one and one doesn't equal two, it equals 11, right? Because
Absolutely.
yeah. So I'm a big fan of kind of collaborating, you guys are all amazing healers, and I've been I feel honored that I'm working with you guys. And so tell me, what has been your maybe most profound or unique experience working with energy, with your intuition, kind of going down this journey of really awakening?
Um, I would say probably just like I think at first I was like, no, that can't be right. That can't be. And then I think the more I work with it and the more I collaborate with others, I feel like you said, my gifts exponentially get greater and I just get more and more information. And every day it's like I'm in awe. Like I think that's the greatest gift. It's like, wow, what is possible for today? Like how
Mm.
can I be awed even more so today? So I think that's been the most profound. It's just been so much fun and like when you approach it with the awe,
Yeah,
like it's unbelievable. Like you're touched in ways that you didn't think were possible. And,
right.
and that's been incredible.
Yeah. So recently you've had some light language activations. Can you tell us about that?
I don't know, because I still have no idea what it is, but um, I find myself drawing and writing with my hands. It's usually my right hand, and making symbols. And recently, I've put a pen in my hand to see what the symbols look like on paper, and they really look like something. I cannot translate it. I
Yeah,
don't know what it means, but it looks really cool. So I
right.
am just playing with that and exploring. And then I just keep asking, like, because I do find one of the things that we do have a lot of assistance if
Mm.
we choose to use it. And I've been just asking. And I think one of my probably I don't know what you would call it. I like things to go fast and I like to know it and I like to know it quickly. And it doesn't happen that way. So it's very methodical and very like, okay, I get it in little tiny pieces where I'd like the whole big thing right now and it doesn't happen. So I am learning patience
Right. It's a
and
real
how
virtue,
to
right? Yeah.
exactly. So I really don't know exactly. I just know it's it's really cool.
And something's happening, right? It's happening for a
Yes.
reason. We don't necessarily
Yes.
understand the reason. But because I've been around people that work with light language, and most of them don't know what they're saying or what's coming through. It's more a feeling of like something is happening, like an upgrade within, right? Like
Yes.
an activation within. Um,
Yes.
so yeah, we don't always need to know what it all means, right? Um,
Correct.
we have to kind of just be open and curious and kind of go with that flow. Now, you mentioned about asking. I'm sure you're assuming, or I'm assuming you're talking about your guides, right? And we all have guides.
Correct.
Do you work with your guide? How often do you work with your guides? How important is it to always be tapping in and checking in with your guides or your ascended masters, or talk a little bit about that, if you will.
So I think it's incredibly important. I think like one of the things even in our Ascension Tribe meditations is one of the things I feel is incredibly important is a deep connection. And when we connect with ourselves, we connect with our higher selves, which in turn connects to all of that other information that our brains just can't. It's not a brain thing. It's a feeling. It's much bigger than our brains.
Mm.
So the more we do that, the more we can be open to access that other information. Like, I mean, people talk about, oh, you turned a different way and you avoided an accident. I mean, that is working. So that is you, whether you realized it or not, you were communicating with something other than you, or, your higher self was communicating with your guides, your masters, your source, whatever that was, you're communicating with that. So the more you build and acknowledge that relationship, the more it um, happens, and the more it impacts your life. So how can, like, I think that's one of the things that's so important. If people are open to that, how much more access they have to information, to their intuition, to just part of life itself,
Right.
because I think part of our lives is we're here to do things, and we try to fight and swim upstream all the time, and it's like, no, 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 go that way. And you're like, no, 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 but I gotta go this way. So what if you followed that?
Mm,
And if you just acknowledge that and pay attention,
mm.
how incredibly, like, even writing those things down, like my family, I joke with my family that when I drive somewhere, I'm like, I ask for a parking spot. And it's now a joke in my house because when I forget to ask for a parking spot, we're parking really far away. When I ask, we're like the first spot right in front. And it happens, I would say, 99% of the time.
Right.
And my kid's like, Mom, you forgot to ask. So it's kind of the joke, but it's something as simple as that. Like, we don't think about that, or we're not taught to think about that. I think a lot of things in our lives, we're taught to do things a different way. So when we do it this way, but we've always had access to this information and this source, we've shut it down somewhere in our early childhood. And how cool is that to open that back up and still have it where you're in 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 relationship with both, in relationship with the higher source and this 3D world, like how
Right.
to integrate both of those and to truly live life to its fullest.
Yeah, absolutely. We spend a lot of time in that kind of left brain kind of mind space versus being more in that kind of heart-centered space, right? And yeah, it is really about a balance, right? And
Mhm.
but I love that, right? That you are manifesting on the fly, right? Because that's what you're doing, right? Through your
Yeah.
thoughts, intentions, and putting it out into the universe, right? And the universe responds.
Mhm.
Very
And the more you acknowledge and ask, the more responses you get. Now, we don't always get everything we ask for because sometimes it comes in a package that uh, sometimes we get what we ask for, but what we thought we asked for is something very different. So it comes in a different package. And so I think it is important to determine how you're asking and what you're asking.
sure. Yeah, you
So,
want to be specific, right?
right.
Right, because it can come in many packages.
Yes.
Right. So do you have a daily practice to kind of stay in a high vibe state?
Yes. So I basically start every day and I end every day with some type of meditation, communication, connection with something, source, my
Spirit,
guides, myself, yes, spirit.
right?
So I do that daily, and um I ground daily. Like, I get ready in the morning with my feet on rocks
Hmm,
to ground the earth. I love to be outside. I will say I do not like the cold.
right.
So bare feet at this time of year gets a little problematic for me. I might do it for a second, but once the snow hits, I don't. But then I have the rocks inside, and then I do sound. Like, I will daily use tuning forks, weighted tuning forks on my body, and just to kind of, but I think you can do it anywhere. Like, I meditate for a couple minutes as I'm showering in the morning. Like, so I think you can build it in. Like, I have people say, "Oh, I don't have time."
Hmm,
it doesn't take long. I mean, you can do it in seconds. You could do, I mean, there's no, like people say, oh, I'm not good at meditating. I think everybody is good at meditating, but you have to find the way that works for you. Because if it's 30 seconds and you just take a deep breath, that could be your quote meditation for that time period because it's just basically connecting with yourself. So I think we all have our own way of doing it, and it's absolutely perfect for you. If it works and you resonate with it, go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you could tailor it to who you are, your lifestyle, kind of what you lean to and what you favor, right? But yeah, I mean, it's really just about being present and in the now, right? Because I think oftentimes we're either in the past or in the future,
Right,
and none of that exists, right? So the past is just our memory, and the future hasn't even manifested yet. And so all there really is now. And
right.
we spend so little time there being present.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, very cool. So the energy work you do Reiki, but are there other things that you do that wouldn't be considered Reiki, or do you have a name for like maybe the kind of energy work that you do?
So I would say I'm a facilitator. I help people facilitate through their lives. Like it could be a problem, it could be a relationship struggle, like it could be just finding who they really are. I help them facilitate it for themselves because I don't feel that I have the answers for everybody.
Mm,
I can help people get to where they need to go, but they get there.
right.
I just help facilitate them. So I sometimes I hesitate to even call myself a healer because I'm not doing anything.
Mm,
I'm just assisting the process for the people that I work with. So does that make sense? So like I said, I don't heal anybody.
yeah.
I think even with Reiki, like I'm facilitating the energy. So I think I use all of my tools
Mm,
that I've gathered over my lifetime, and then I bring it to somebody to help them find what it is they're looking for.
right. No, yeah, that makes sense. It's almost like uh, like you're a consultant more than like a coach or
I mean, I think a coach is like you're going to that coach and they're going to teach you what you need to do. I, like I said, I think it just help them like ask questions and I use all my tools to determine what it is they need and they determine it for themselves,
right. You just
essentially.
help them navigate that.
Correct.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I'm the guide. Like I'm the tour guide to get to that
Yeah.
why I call it the finding the treasure within. So I'm the tour guide to help you find the treasure within yourself.
You're like a Sherpa, Gina. You didn't even.
Exactly.
That's funny. No, that's really cool. So do you have a favorite tool that is in your toolbox that you kind of go to more often than not?
Um, Not necessarily. I think it's dependent on the circumstance and the situation. I think I would probably say that my gift at seeing the big picture
Mm,
um, is it works really well because I do believe that like communication does create some havoc in our lives.
mm.
And I think I've had the gift of seeing the big picture of what's really going on so that that way the little bits of miscommunication don't mean so much and how to help people navigate that.
Right. Oh, very cool. So, we started the Ascension Tribe a few months back, and actually, Desiree kind of brought us together. Um,
Yeah.
it's been wonderful working with her. She's really talented. Um, why should, can you tell us a little bit more about the Ascension Tribe and why people should consider at least taking a look? what can they expect from coming to one of our meditations?
So I would say expect something completely and totally unique that you haven't experienced before, because I have done tons of meditations over my lifetime, and I can honestly say that I've never experienced anything quite like this. The uh the frequency that you run in the background is totally like powerful. Like every time I've interacted with your frequencies, it's just like wow, like it touches you on a cellular level.
Mm,
And then the alchemy that Roque uses, same thing, but in a different way. It's transmitting through the water that you're drinking, and I mean, he's across the country, and
right.
you're still having that right in your living room or your bedroom or wherever you're experiencing the meditation, that you're truly experiencing that energy go through you.
Mm,
And then the sound, I mean, I've always loved sound baths, and I can travel far and wide during sound baths, and that brings another component. And then having Desiree channel what she's experiencing and feeling with the collective and the group on the call, and how much feedback we've gotten that people are, she'll say a word or a phrase or something, and they'll say afterwards, oh my gosh, that's what I was experiencing. And so it's so powerful how the group together has just morphed into something just completely amazing. And I've done tons of Zoom meditations, and I have not experienced the level of power that we have with all of us on the call. And I think even the members have added another layer of just like you said, just a leveling up. So we're all just kind of going up together. So I would definitely say it's worth experiencing in one time. It may or may not be for you, but we've had people say that I don't do online meditations, but this is amazing. So I like things in person, but this was unbelievable. So the feedback we've gotten has been like, I'm still in awe of that, because I know it's really cool, but to have everyone we interview say, wow, I've never experienced anything like that. It's like I just feel like we're on the brink of something really great. And the more people we bring in,
mm.
how it's just going to get better and better.
Yeah, the validation is amazing, right? And I mean, I'm shocked every time we do work together because it's very potent energy. It's not just a meditation. We're transmitting energy to the members, and they're responding and they're feeling it, right? And they're um so there are skeptics out there that are going to kind of like wonder like how is it that through a Zoom, multiple locations all over the country, you're transmitting this energy and the people that are on the call are receiving it, right? How's that even possible, right? But it's a real thing. Now, how would you if you're talking to a skeptic, how would you explain that to someone? Like, how does that mechanism work?
I would say quantum physics does exist.
Right.
I mean, there's plenty of even like studies out there. I mean, there has been um, groups of people that have gotten together to pray, and they have studied that crime level went down during that period of time. So energy does not need time and space. It exists everywhere. And that's one thing I did learn in Reiki, that I believe sometimes remote Reiki sessions are even more powerful than in-person sessions,
Right.
because our focus and intention is so laser focused
Yeah.
that it's almost like you create more. Whereas when you're in person, not that it's like, it's just different, because you can get distracted, you whatever, because you're right there. But here we're all focusing, and then everybody's intention is there to be focused. So it does exist. And if you're truly skeptical, the only way you can really debunk it is try it. prove it to us that it doesn't work. Try
Right.
it out. There's no harm in that. If you don't
100%.
like it, you don't have to return.
Right, right. Yeah, we're not gonna hold you hostage.
No, definitely not.
Right. No, you're right about that because I've done remote work as well, and the intent that you have is much more laser focused when you work on someone remotely. And so that intention, that consciousness that you bring to the healing or to the energy work, let's call it that, tends to be more focused. Um, and I found just from my own personal experiences, and the most profound sessions I've had have been through remote, believe it or not. Yeah.
Absolutely, I agree. Now, don't get me wrong. I love in person. I love being close in proximity, but the more I do remote work, the more I'm like, wow, look at how much more we can look at the relationship that we can build across the globe
Right.
with remote versus because you can only see so many physical people in your presence and you can only touch so many people. But if you just look at what the internet has done to everything, like that's what we're doing. We're just working over that internet and that World Wide Web. And how cool is that to bring all these other energies to um, a Zoom call?
Right. No, it's really powerful. Yeah, I mean, we could reach so many more people through this modality versus or through this kind of platform venue versus in person, right? Because you are limited by your physical presence, and so it's very powerful. So, how can people find out more about you? How can people find out more about the Ascension Tribe? And what's your vision going forward for 2025 and going forward into this new age that we're opening up?
So yeah, so I think well, Ascension Tribe, you can obviously the website ascension-tribe.com. You can go to the website and then just register for the meditation and try it out.
Mm.
Um, my vision for that is I would love to have thousands of members and to add multiple days and times eventually to really, touch people across the country, across the world, because I think that the more that we have relationship with each other, the more that we can all go up together. There is plenty of room for all of us to go. So how can we build a community to do that together and then collaborate and work with each other even outside of that? So how else can we impact humanity? So that is one of my like dreams, wishes to how do we do this? How do we change the world? I think when I remember I was probably maybe 6 years old and I walked into the kitchen and I said, Mom, I'm going to change the world. And she's like, honey, you don't do that. Like, we don't do that. And I'm like, but I'm going to. I'm going to show you. And I think I've been like, ever since I was little, it's like, how can we do this together? And I don't think I'm like, that's like powerful, but I think we are together.
Mm.
Like, that as we work together, we are that powerful.
Right.
And Desiree will tell me, no, Gina, we are that powerful. But it's like, it's true. It's like if we put our mind to something and work together, how much can we create together? So that to me is awesome. And then I also have a website, findingthetreasurewithin.com, and that's where I do individual and group sessions and facilitation. And you can schedule individually with me there and or reach out, email. We monitor the Ascension Tribe email, which is ascensiontribe11@gmail.com. So we all monitor that and just reach out if you have questions. We would love to hear from you. We'd love to see how we can, interact in some fashion.
Very cool. Well, I appreciate your time, Gina. I know you got a busy day ahead and big celebration for 2025 coming here. Happy New Year,
Yeah.
by the way. But yeah,
Yes.
I
Happy
mean,
New Year.
Absolutely. But yeah, you know what? Again, I'm very grateful to be working with you, and Gina and Roque. And like you mentioned, we all kind of bring different things to the table, but when we put it all together, it's a beautiful recipe that I've never come across anything like it. So it very powerful.
I agree.
Yeah.
And looking forward to what we can accomplish and what more we can add to our repertoire of tools in 2025.
Yep, absolutely. All right, Gina. Well, thank you so much. You have a wonderful day and Happy New Year.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Take care.
You too.